Shalom again, everyone. So this evening study is one you should be familiar with. And for those who aren't, then now is your opportunity to learn what was taught, I think, about a year ago, or more, a year and a couple months. So who is Satan, that old serpent? I think all of us would have a basic knowledge as to who is Satan, right?
All right.
So if you have an eternal enemy, one that is hell-bent on preventing you from reaching your full potential or achieving your purpose for which you were created, then it would be wise for you to know that enemy, right? And so tonight we are going to look at Satan. Who is he or what is he? That old serpent. So in the book of Luke, in the New Testament, chapter 10, it says, "And he said to them, I saw Satan falling out of the heaven as lightning. See, I give you the authority to trample on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and none at all shall hurt you." So Yahusha was speaking here and he said that he saw Satan falling out of the heaven as lightning. Is this something that we see in Genesis?
No.
No, we don't see this in Genesis. But we're getting information about it all the way in the New Testament. Revelation 12, verse 9. The great dragon was thrown out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who leads all the world astray. He was thrown to the earth, and his angels, his messengers, were thrown out with him. So again, we see another verse in the Bible speaking of the same event as Luke 10, where Satan was thrown out, falling from the heaven down to the earth. Revelation 20, verse 2, verse 1 and 2. I saw a messenger coming down from the heaven, having the key to the pit of the deep and a great chain in his hand. And he seized the dragon, the serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan. So, based on these three verses that we've looked at so far, what are some of the appellations we can say Satan hold? By appellation, I mean titles or names. An appellation is a name or title. You can write that in your book. Appellation. APELLATION. Appellation. It's a name or a title, something that you use to reference, in reference to someone. A name or a title. So things like mommy, daddy are appellations, and then their names are also appellations. So what are some of the appellations that we are seeing here for this individual from Luke 10, Revelation 12, and Revelation 20?
Dragon.
Dragon,
Serpent.
serpent,
Sorry, serpent I was supposed to say. Sorry about it.
yeah, we see dragon. It's a serpent as well. What else?
Devil.
Devil. What else?
Satan,
Satan.
father of lies.
Where is that?
I think Peter said, Peter went in place.
Asking about these three verses.
Oh, in the verses. Oh, I just
Yeah.
came. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, man. So already we have 4. Satan, devil, dragon, serpent. And you notice it keeps saying the serpent of old. So it's not just any serpent. Serpent of old. There's the long time serpent. And not just come up something. So let us look at what Satan means, because Satan is not a name. And you can write that as well. Satan is not a name. In the same way, Elohim is not a name. In the same way, Mashiach is not a name. So a lot of persons actually think that Jesus is the first name and Christ is the last name. And that's why I say Jesus Christ. But that's not the case. So Mashiach is not a name. Elohim is not a name. King is not a name. Lord is not a name. Adonai is not a name. Those are all titles. So Satan is not a name. What is Satan? The word Satan is a Hebrew word. It means adversary. And it says also the name of the superhuman adversary of God. That is what the dictionary is saying. That is incorrect. It's not his name. Because when you see his name in the scripture, it actually says Asatan. And the ha there means the. So it's saying this something. And the name is adversary. So it's saying the adversary, the enemy, the opponent. That's what it is saying. So when you hear Hasatan, it's the adversary. Because ha means the. So Satan means adversary, an opponent to withstand or to oppose. When you go to the ancient Hebrew lexicon, Satan means oppose, opponent, or opposition. The pictograph Shin is a picture of a thorn representing a turning. And the tet is a picture of a round basket. Combine these, it means to turn around. Turn around. So an opponent turns around, causes you to turn, causes you to rebel. It's a rebel. You turned around. You see it? So Satan turns around. An adversary turns around. They rebel. They don't go with the flow. They don't go with the group. They don't go with the team. They rebel. So they turn around. They go in an opposite direction. Oppose. Opponent. Does that make sense, everybody? Or anybody needs clarification or reiteration?
Makes sense to me.
So again, Satan
Clear.
means adversary. An adversary is an enemy, someone who is going against you, an opponent. The Hebrew letters that form the word, Shin, Tet, Nun. The Shin and the Tet combined means turn around, because the pictograph of the Tet is a thorn bush, and a thorn causes turning. And the pictograph for the Tet is a picture of a round basket, and the basket It's around. It goes around to contain something. Put the two together, it means to turn around. An opponent turns around. They don't go with the team. So they turn around. They're going in an opposite direction. That's why they are called opponent. They are going in the opposite direction. You are going right. They are going left. If we are working together, we go in the same direction. So it's a turning around. A rebel turns around and goes against whatever system or whatever we call it is at play. So it's a rebel. Clearer? So Satan is a rebel. Not a name, it's a title. How much time he said? Satan is not a name, it's a title. That's why when we look in the scripture, when you look in the Hebrew, you see Ha-Satan. Ha means the. Satan means adversary. The adversary, it's not his name. Anyways, moving on. Let us go deeper. So the shin, the ancient picture for this letter is the front teeth. Picture of the two front teeth. This letter has the meanings of teeth, means sharp, means press, because they use the teeth are sharp, the two front teeth are sharp, and they press against food to bite, pull it apart from the function of the teeth when chewing. It also has the meaning of two, again, or both. The tet, the pictograph for it is a container. The container is made of a wicker or clay. Containers were a very important item among the nomadic Hebrews. They were used for storing grains, tools, foods, housewares, and other items. Wicker baskets were used as nets for catching fish. The meanings of this letter are basket, contain, store, and clay. And the final letter that makes up Satan is Nun. So Shin, Tet, Nun. Sha, Ta, An. Shin, Tet, Nun. The pictograph for Nun is a picture of a seed, sprout, or a sperm, representing the idea of continuing to a new generation. This pictograph has the meanings of continue, perpetuation, offspring, and heir. Any one of the students want to tell me what does perpetuation mean? When you perpetuate something, what does that mean?
A
Yahweh say, I give
continuation of continuing always.
continuation always. Constant continuation. So when Yahweh say, I give you this ordinance as a perpetual covenant, it means it's a continual covenant. I don't expect you to stop unless I tell you to stop. You don't stop. When you put the three together, the shin, which means to press, the tet, which is the container, and the nun, which is the seed, it means to press against the container of the seed. Press against the container of the seed can also mean press against the seed of the clay. It can also mean turn around the seed, because the shin turn, the container goes around things to contain them, and the nun is the seed. So turn around the seed. And it can also mean the rebellious seed. So all of these point to Satan because Satan presses against the container of the seed. And the container of the seed is the woman that bears the child. And we see countless stories in the Bible where he goes against the women who are supposed to have special children. Right? Or I mean, make it up.
No, you make it up. It also what I'm gathering here as well. You see, it says press against the seed of the clay.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, mankind comes from the clay.
Okay.
And what
Very
he
good.
does, he wants mankind to turn from their original state that they were in. And he continued to let mankind turn from their original state. And that's a fitting name for him, because
Very
he
good.
just and he wants us to rebel against our maker as well. So it's a fitting name for him.
So we see how powerful the Hebrew actually is and how important it is for us to know it so we can pull the full understanding from this title, Shatan, because it's actually Shatan. Anyways, turn around the seed. He exists to turn the seed around. He wants us to turn around and go against Yahuwah. Because remember, what does it say in the Torah? Do not turn to the right or to the left. And if you don't turn to the right or to the left, what does it mean? What direction you're going?
Straight.
Forward, straight.
Mm-hmm.
And so Satan turns around the seed. And he's also the rebellious seed because we know he revolted in heaven. So we're getting some understanding as to who this individual is and why he was given this title. Because this is his main title. This is the main title you'll find for him in all of Scripture. So now we're understanding why he was given this title and why it is so frequently used in reference to him, Shatan. So again, Shatan is not a name, it is a title. In the book of Yashar, chapter 22, verse 47, we see Shatan conducting himself accordingly, as becomes the name, the title. Verse 47, Yahweh said unto Satan, whence come you? Where you come from? Satan answered Yahuwah and said, all about, from going to and fro in the earth, all about me I come from walking up and down in it. And Yahweh said to Satan, what is your word to me concerning all the children of the earth? And Satan answered Yahuwah and said, I have seen all the children of the earth who serve you and remember you when they require anything from you. So him come with him craft. He's basically saying to Yahweh, I notice the children of the earth. They only come to you when they want something. They only remember you when they want something. And Yahweh said to Satan in verse 54, have you thus considered my servant Abraham? So when you read in the book of Job, as a lot of persons know it, and we hear this conversation, we think it's the first it ever happened. But when you get a hold of these books, you realize that it's in regular craft that in use. And Ayub wasn't the first person he went to Yahuwah about. And Yahuwah had to ask him, have you considered my servant? It happened with Abraham. He continues, Yahuwah continues, Yahuwah said, for there is none like him upon the earth, a perfect and an upright man before me, one that fears Elohim, avoids evil. As I live, were I to say unto him, bring up Yitzchak, your son, before me, he would not withhold him from me. Much more, if I told him to bring up an ascending smoke offering before me from his flock or herds. And Shatan answered Yahuwah and said, speak then unto Abraham as you have said, and you will see whether he will not this day transgress and cast aside your words. So what you're realizing is Yahuwah introduced the scenario, because Yahuwah already know everything. Probably this is what Shatan was going to suggest to Yahuwah first him and say, no, see how this you come about. In any event, you realize that Satan's plan here is to kill the seed, right? The righteous seed that is to bring forth Jacob, the seed that is to bring forth Yahudah, and that is the seed that is to bring forth David, which is to bring forth Solomon, which is to bring forth Yahusha, which is our salvation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if him get Isaac dead, then we know the whole thing mash up. And we can go all the way back to Cain and Abel. Because once Cain killed Abel, there is no more a hair of righteousness, and Cain is automatically disqualified as a righteous hair. But Yahweh raised up Seth. And we see it continue down the line. Happen again with Esau and Jacob. And it keeps happening, keeps happening. Happens a lot of time down the line. So there's this thing where he's trying to get rid of the righteous line. And he brings it here to Yahweh. So Satan says, all right, you say it so. Test him and see. Let us see how it works out. So that is his plan. And you can go read the story for yourself. You will see even when they were making the journey towards the place when Yahweh said to Abraham, take your son and give him back to me. Go and sacrifice him on that mountain. I don't remember the name of the mountain. And while they were going, Satan pulled a lot of tricks on them, trying to prevent them from going. So we're seeing his adversarial traits. Satan, adversary, same thing. 1 Chronicles 21, verse 1. Look at this now. Now Satan stood up against Yisrael and moved David to number Israel. Who remember the census presentation, the registration and numbering Jacob presentation? We know that we're not supposed to count Yahweh's people.
Yeah, I remember.
And King David is now in a time in his rulership where he's secure. Yahweh gave him peace from all his enemies. And so I guess there wasn't much to do. And him idle. And he says Satan stood up against Israel. And how did Satan stood up against Israel? He moved David to number them, to order a census. And when he did that, all hell break loose upon Yasharal because Yahuwah punished the people because of King David's sin. Satan caused that. Satan stood up against. Yes, he says stood up against because Satan means adversary, it means opponent. So he stood up against. That is what he does. Job chapter 1, Job 1, verse 7. Yahweh said to Satan, from where do you come? Satan answered, Yahweh said, from diligently searching in the earth, same thing, walking to and fro. Yahweh said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth? Perfect and straight man, one who fears Elohim and turns aside from evil. And Satan answered Yahweh and said, is Job fearing Elohim for nothing? Have you not made a hedge around him, you protect him? So it's like a man of his son, only son. Him not make him go road, buy everything we him ever need. You say him not try and prove him, him not prove himself in the street. House boy. That's the argument that Satan come with now against Job. You know. You have made a hedge around him. Him no problem, so he must bless you. You have put a hedge around his household and around everything that he has on every side. This man don't know problems. You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. And we know how the story continues. Numbers 22. But the displeasure of Elohim burned because he went and the messenger of Yahuwah stationed himself in the way as an adversary against him. Numbers 22. This is Yahuwah's angel now. This is Balaam. And Yahuwah tell Balaam, said, don't go. Balaam get up and say, I'm going. Yahuwah send the angel to kill him. Look at this. So, and was kindled. Let me zoom it in. And was kindled Elohim's anger because he went and stood the angel of Yahuwah in the way for an adversary. Look at the word for adversary. For a Satan. This is why I tell you that Satan is not a name. It is a Hebrew word that means adversary. And they use it to reference to the serpent of old. Because this here, it says that the angel of Yahuwah stood in the way of Balaam as an adversary, as Satan against him. So get it straight. Satan is not a bad word. It's just a word that means adversary. And because the greatest adversary in the history of the world is this individual, who we're going to find out his name later on, we just his name, his title is so fitting that it almost seems to be a name. So that's the word that was used in Numbers 22:22. And the messenger of Yahweh in verse 32 said to him, "Why have you struck your donkey these 3 times? See, I have come out to stand against you because your way is reckless before me." So Yahuwah can be an adversary, Bridget. Yahuwah can play the role of Satan because Satan is an adversary. Yahweh is Satan against all his enemies. That is just the reality. Jubilees 23:29. All their days they shall complete and live in peace and in joy, and there shall be no Satan, there shall be no adversary, there shall be no opponent, nor any evil destroyer, for all their days shall be days of blessing and healing. Jubilees 50, verse 5. The Jubilee shall pass by until Yisrael is cleansed from all guilt of fornication and uncleanness, and pollution and sin and error, and dwells with confidence in all the land. And there shall be no more an adversary or any evil one, and the land shall be clean from that time forevermore. So evil people in your life are Satan, brethren. If they are adversaries, they are Satan. They are an opponent, Satan. That's why we don't want to be too emotional, because Christianity is an emotional religion. And what I said a while ago about Yahuwah can play the role of Satan. A man will say you blaspheme. That is something that we're going to look at in the future as well, in the very short future. Blasphemy. It's something that we throw around and we don't even know what it means. So we don't want to be emotional about this. Satan is the Hebrew word for adversary. So if I am an adversary to Miriam, I am Satan to Miriam because I am going against her. Everybody understand that?
Clear.
Yeah, stop it.
Yes, Lord.
So let us see if we can identify this virgin here now, because since as we've established that Satan is just merely a title or an appellation, something that we use in reference to him, let us now see if we can ascertain who exactly this individual is, because the opening slide said that he's a serpent of old. So the Hebrew word for serpent is nakash. Nakash. Look what it means. Simple definition, serpent. When you look deeper into the root word, the word that it comes from, the same word where it comes from is actually nakash. It means to practice divination. What is divination? What does it mean when you divine?
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft,
Magic.
phobia, magic, all of those things. Practice divination, to observe signs. What does it mean to observe signs? Astrology, horoscope. So this is not a good word. This is where he gets serpent from, because he practices divination, observes signs, the astrology. It means to learn by experience, and this is the one I want you to highlight. To learn by experience. Because we're going to pull out a nice little lesson after this slide here. Learn by experience. Serpent means to learn by experience, nakash, and to practice fortune telling. In your fortune cookie, a man read your palm and all of these things. Serpent, Satan. From the ancient Hebrew lexicon, same thing, divine, to learn something through divination, enchantment, divine, enchanter. So make sure you're right, learn by experience. Learn by experience. What is another way you can learn? There are two ways you can learn. Either you learn by experience or you learn by what?
Mistake.
Huh?
Example.
Not the word I'm looking for. I know what you mean, but not the word I'm looking for.
By studying.
Learn by doing what you were taught. Somebody teach you and you follow what them say. You are told what to do and you do it. Persons who learn by experience, they go and do things off of their own.
Instruction.
Instruction. Thank you very much. So learning by instruction and learning by experience. So the opposite of learning by experience is learning by instruction. You are instructed and you follow what you were instructed to do. People who learn by experience, they go do their own thing. So either you learn by instruction or you learn by experience. Thank you for that word, madam.
Then when I look at the definition for divination, it says the practice of seeking hidden knowledge
Thank you.
or predicting future events by interpreting omens, signs, and spiritual supernatural means using various rituals and tools. And astrology come in again and crystal ball and these things come in again.
They're trying to uncover the unknown, the things that you don't know in regards to the future, in regards to even the present. You're trying to uncover it.
Yeah, and so we can go right back to our forefathers and mother, Adam and Kawa.
Yeah, man.
When
So don't teach a lesson now. Don't teach a lesson now. I'm
okay,
getting there.
sorry, sir, sorry.
All right. So very important what she said just now. Divination means to seek out hidden knowledge. Hidden knowledge, and that is not good knowledge. It's hidden for a reason. So it's not like the things that Yahweh said to search for. These are things that were hidden for a reason and you were told to leave it alone. Watch this now, because remember, we're looking at serpent. We're going slow tonight. Might take some time, but so be it. Genesis 2:16 and 17. Yahweh commanded the man, saying, every single tree of the garden you may eat freely, but do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for in the day you eat of it, you shall certainly die. Does that sound similar to what Miriam said just now? The tree of knowledge of good and evil sound like hidden knowledge, don't? That sound like forbidden knowledge.
Yeah, indeed it is.
So now we're understanding how this thing here come down nicely. And this is the beauty of the Hebrew language, when you understand the language. Now we jump to Genesis chapter 3. So the command given to the man was to eat of every tree of the garden, except for the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Don't eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's forbidden knowledge. You don't need to know about that. Now is not the time for you to learn about that. That contains information about past and future events that you are not supposed to be privy to at this time. When you have a child, 3 years old, will you teach that child about sex?
Not at all.
No. The child has no business learning about sex. Does not necessarily mean that sex is bad, but you're not reached there so yet. No, it's not the time for that. You are not at the age for that. So we go to chapter 3 now. Now the serpent, the Nakash, the diviner, the one who learned by experience, the one who seeks out hidden knowledge, was more crafty than all the beings of the field, which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said to the woman, is it true that Elohim has said, do not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, we are to eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the middle of the garden, Elohim has said, do not eat of it nor touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said to the woman, you shall not certainly die. Watch this now. And this is where him show you say, he's actually a Satan. Verse 5, he says, for Elohim knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes shall be opened. So you must say, right now you're blind, and in blind by purpose. And you shall be like Elohim. And this is the big problem. Knowing good and evil. So you are going to be like him and have full knowledge of the hidden information. Pandora's box, you're going to have access to Pandora's box. And this is the issue. You shall be like Elohim. Who actually wants to be like Elohim?
The adversary himself at the time.
The same man, the serpent. The serpent himself, and he projects this onto mankind. He says, you shall be like Elohim, and he does not want you to be like him, and that is why he told you not to eat of the tree. Anyways, they ate, and we know the story, but we jump to verse 13. Yahweh come now. Yahweh Elohim said to the woman, what is this you have done? The woman said, the Nakash deceived me, the serpent deceived me, and I ate. So he lied. And Yahweh Elohim said to the serpent, because you have done this, you are cursed more than all livestock and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you are to go and eat dust all the days of your life. And I put hatred. Enmity is a, what do you call it now? It's a great hatred. So I put a great hatred between you and the woman. And I saw him get the Satan now, because remember, Satan means to press against the container of the seed. So I put great hatred between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. He shall crush your head, and you shall crush his heel. So all of his titles and appellations are connected. The serpent, because he divines, he seeks out hidden knowledge, he learns by experience. And mankind followed him and learned by experience and not by instruction, because the instruction that they were given was to not eat. And they ate. So it means that they learned by experience and not by instruction. And we are feeling the repercussions of that to this day. Numbers 21 verse 6. Yahweh sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and many of the people of Yisrael died. What is the purpose of this? The word for fiery is saraf. Saraf. Why should that ring a bell? Why should saraf ring a bell?
Satan is a seraph.
Seraphim.
Seraphim. I am not telling you that he was, because we don't see anything specifically stating same, but it is possible that he fell under this order of angels. There's a type of angel called seraphim. Isaiah described them in his book when he had a vision of what they looked like. Seraph serpents, fiery serpents. When you're reading in the English, you can't make these connections. Translators put what they want to put, wherever they want to put it, and keep it moving. Let us look at another appellation of Satan. The devil. Still not getting name, and now we see serpent a while ago. Now we're seeing devil. So the devil, what does devil mean? Anybody know what devil mean? I guess not. All right. So there are two words translated as devil in the Hebrew. One is Sair. Sair actually means hairy. That is the origin for Mount Seir, hairy mountain. Esau was hairy, Sair. And it's also used in reference to goat, shaggy goat, and those things. So the best word to use is shad. Shad. So you have shad, which means demon. Demon. So shad, one demon. And if you're going to pluralize and say demons, how would you pluralize shad and turn it into demons?
Shadim.
Very good. Shadim. So when you're listening to Yisrael music and you hear a synagogue of Shadim, synagogue of demons, they are saying. Once you hear them say Shadim, it's demons, plural. So devil is shad. It just means demon. And we know that Satan is not the only demon, right?
Yeah.
Very good. So this is merely another title or appellation, something that we use in reference to him. These are some examples of how the words are used. So Sair is used in Leviticus 17:7 and 2 Chronicles 11:5. I won't read those because we're not interested in those two. Deuteronomy 32:17 and Psalm 106 for demons are shot. Deuteronomy 32:17 says they slaughtered to demons, not Elohim. Mighty ones they did not know, new ones who came lately, which your fathers did not fear. And Psalm 106:36 and 37 says, and they served their idols and they became a snare to them, and they slaughtered their sons and their daughters to demons, to Shadim. Somebody said that's why we say you're mad like Shad in Jamaica.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, what have we gone so far? Come, recap quickly. The appellations that we got so far, we look into.
Serpent.
Serpent. Somebody else, quickly.
Devil.
Devil.
Dragon.
Uh-huh.
Satan.
Satan.
Dragon.
No, we don't look on dragon in depth yet. Anyways, so we need to identify who is this individual, because all we're seeing are titles and description, adjectives for him and all of these things. So who is he? Zechariah 3. I'm going to show you that he's not a normal person. Zechariah 3, verse 1 and 2. And he showed me Yahusha the high priest standing before the messenger of Yahweh, standing before the angel of Yahweh. So this is a vision happening in heaven. And Satan standing at his right hand to be an adversary. So look at this now, you know. In the Hebrew, and if you don't believe me, I can carry you to the Bible Hub. So it says, and Satan standing at his right hand to be a Satan to him, adversary. So Satan standing at his right hand to be Satan to him, adversary. And Yahuwah said to Satan, Yahuwah rebuke you, Satan. Yahuwah was chosen Jerusalem, rebuke you. Is this not a brand plucked from the fire? So in Zechariah 3, we're seeing Satan before Yahuwah the Creator, and Yahuwah rebukes him. Job 1 verse 6. The day came to be that the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahuwah. Sons of Elohim here are the angels. For those who are not present at the assembly, or those who haven't watched the presentation where we looked at Elohim and where we looked at sons of Elohim to identify what is Elohim and to prove that it's a common title and not a name, and it's not a plural term, then you can go and watch those presentations. 2 presentations were done on Elohim. You can look for those on the YouTube channel and watch those. Sons of Elohim are referencing to the angels, not human beings, angels. So it came to be, there was a specific day when Yahuwah called a board meeting. Him have him days when him said the board meet once every 3 months. We don't know. But the day came and they presented themselves. And look who came among them. Who came among them?
Satan.
Satan.
The
So
adversary.
if the sons of Elohim are assembling and this brethren here come, then it means that he is also a what?
One of the sons of Elohim.
One of the sons of Elohim. That a person don't want to hear that, you blaspheme. Huh. Anyways, Job 2 verse 1. Again, the day came to be that the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahuwah. Board meeting call again. And Satan also came among them to present himself before Yahuwah. So when this cry here go out in a brethren, it seems as if every single angel good and bad have forward, you know. And this is why I keep telling you that we have no idea how heaven operation is conducted. Because this is giving me the impression that whenever Yahuwah calls a meeting, where we call demon and the good angels, every jackman have to present themselves. And I have a presentation working on to show you that this is quite so. Yahuwah's realm and the scope of his dominion is every single thing in control, even the evil as well. And we have to come to an understanding and bring our brains and our minds to the understanding that every single thing that is transacted upon the earth is because Yahuwah allows it, and it is all within his grasp and within his control. He just merely allows it. And these demons can do nothing, because remember when him go about Job, him say, you put a hedge around him and run everything for him, you can't touch him. I remember when he went, when Yahuwah give him and tell him, say, go on, him said, okay, do your thing, but don't touch his life. Do not take his life. And him cannot, once the command is given not to take the life, then he cannot. He just simply cannot. That is how powerful Yahuwah is. Just a word and the argument done. Joshua 22:46. The day arrived when the sons of Elohim came and placed themselves before Yahuwah, and Satan also came with the sons of Elohim before Yahuwah. So this notion where we walk, we tell people when we're in Christianity that Satan not have access to heaven and Satan can see back God's face, as we would say. We have no idea how the scripture works, brethren. Because we're seeing otherwise. So we're putting one and one together. So clearly this brethren here have some status to be presenting himself, right? He might have some form of status, he might have some form of clout, he might have some form of prestige. Now so you go.
Yes, yes.
Because when this meeting you call me, you can't go. So we have to be fair.
It is just like we nowadays, you know, because we have a board meeting and the persons who are not for whatever we are about, they have to present themselves too, and they have to put forth their case before the committee. And if the committee say they don't with it, then they don't with it. But everybody have to present themselves.
Yeah. So we have to figure out who is this virgin here, because it's a very interesting figure, you know, very powerful figure. So just try to see if we can find out who he is. So another appellation that we come across is Mastema, the destroyer. Mastema. The Hebrew word Mastema means animosity, enmity, means hatred. When you look at the word from the ancient Hebrew lexicon, it means scourge or whip. When you scourge somebody, you beat them. A whipping or lashing out at someone or something out of hatred or punishment. So this virgin here, as we would say in the English language, has an axe to grind. He have a chip on his shoulder. He have something to fight about. So that is what Mastema means. Animosity, enmity, hatred. Who is Mastema? Jubilees 11 verse 4. So Jubilees is the book that ascribes this appellation to this individual. Jubilees said the prince Mastema exerted himself to do all this, and he sent forth other spirits, those which were put under his hand, to do all manner of wrong and sin, and all manner of transgression, to corrupt and destroy, and to shed blood upon the earth. So Jubilees call him what kind of Mastema?
Prince.
Prince. And if you are a prince, it means that you are ruling, right?
Yeah.
And if you're ruling, then it means that you have people under you.
Yep.
So you go.
Yes.
And we are seeing that the prince Mastema sent forth other spirits. So Mastema governs other spirits, those which were put under his hand to do all manner of wrong and sin. So it's not ordinary, brethren, this. Jubilee 17 verse 5. The prince Mastema came and said before Elohim, behold, Abraham loves Isaac his son, and he delights in him above all things else. Bid him to offer him as an ascending smoke offering on the altar, and you will see if he will do this command, and you will know if he is faithful in everything wherein you do try him. Jubilees 18, 9 and 12. And I stood before him and before the prince Mastema, and Yahuwah said, bid him not to lay his hand on the lad, nor to do anything to him. So Abraham was about to slay Isaac on the altar. And Yahuwah sent the angel, and the angel said, I stood before him and before the prince Mastema. And Yahuwah tell me, say, listen, tell Abraham to not touch him, you know. And the prince Mastema was put to shame. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, a ram caught by his horns. So the ram was provided instead of Yitzhak. Mastema craft up all of that. You can go read the story for yourself. Very interesting story. And all the events leading up to this point. The tricks that Mastema pull out against Abraham. Jubilees 48. Passover. Exodus. And you yourself know that he spoke unto you on Mount Sinai, and what Prince Mastema desired to do with you when you were returning into Egypt. So the angel is speaking to Marsha, telling Moses that, listen, all of the things that were reach you, you know, when you were a child growing up in Egypt, you know, is Mastema caused it, you know, Moses. And the prince Mastema stood up against you and sought to cast you into the hands of Pharaoh. And he helped the Egyptian sorcerers. When Moses threw down him stick and the stick turned into serpent, his Mastema helped Balaam and the magician, and when them throw down them stick, them turn into serpent too. Mastema helped them. So when you see men performing a lot of miracles, and people touching people and saying that they heal, Mastema is behind a lot of that. And notwithstanding in verse 12, all these signs and wonders did the prince Mastema was not put to shame, because he took courage and cried to the Egyptian to pursue after you with all the powers of the Egyptians. So even when you're gone and Pharaoh run you down, Amastima go to Pharaoh, go tell him, say, go on for them. He is relentless. He does not stop. Verse 15. And on the 14th day, and on the 15th, and on the 16th, and on the 17th, and on the 18th, the prince Mastima was bound and imprisoned behind the children of Yisrael, that he might not accuse them. So Yahweh hold on upon him a couple of days while we were leaving Egypt to give us some leeway to get to the seat. And on the 19th, we let them loose that they might help the Egyptian and pursue the children of Yisrael. So you realize Yahweh have him under control, brethren. You know, you have a dog when him under control and him not realize you have him under control, him thinking bad. And him not realize you actually have him under control. That's Mastima. Jubilees 49:2. On this night, the beginning of the feast and the beginning of the joy, you were eating the Passover in Egypt, when all the powers of Mastima had been let loose. So on this night, the beginning of the feast, the beginning of the joy, you were eating the Passover in Egypt, when all the powers of Mastima had been let loose to kill all the firstborn in the land of Egypt. So who killed the firstborn in the land of Egypt?
Mastima.
Mastima. Exodus 12 calls it a destroyer. Yahweh said, I shall pass over the door and I will not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. And this is where they get the term death angel from. Mastima's minions pass through and kill. More than one of them, whole heap of them pass through and kill all the people. Mastima people, Prince Mastima. Hosea 9. A lot of persons think that this word is not in the 66 canon. Think Jubilee just invent it and give it to us. You find this word in Hosea, the prophet, Husha. Correct way to say his name, Husha. Name means salvation. So you have Yahusha. So this prophet is named Husha without the Yah. So it means salvation. He saves. It says, O Yisrael, do not rejoice with exaltation like the peoples, for you have poured from your Elohim. You have loved the harlot fee at all threshing floors. They shall not dwell in the land of Yahweh, but Ephraim shall return to Egypt and eat unclean food in Assyria. For look, they shall go because of destruction. Egypt gathers them up. So because of destruction, who is the destroyer?
Mastima.
Mastima. Moth buries them. Nettles possess their valuables of silver. Thorns are in their tents. The days of punishment have come. The days of retribution have come. Yisrael knows. The prophet is a fool. The man of the spirit is mad because of the greatness of your crookedness. And great is the Mastima. Great is the enmity. Verse 8. Elohim's watchman over you. Ephraim is the prophet, but a trapper's snare is in all his ways. Watch this. Mastima is in the house of his Elohim. Mastima infiltrate the place, brethren. Enmity, hatred. Infiltrate. Mastima the destroyer. Another appellation of Shatan. Still can't get him name all now. What a something. Ready for one name now? Write this name in your book. Azazel. Azazel. Huh? Huh? Is a good name. His names are actually good names. Azazel. Enoch 8. So Enoch is the book that gives us this name for Satan. Moreover, Azazel taught men to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates, the fabrication of mirrors, the workmanship of bracelets and ornaments, the use of paint, the beautifying of the eyebrows or the eyeshadow, stones of every valuable and select kind, and all sorts of dyes, so that the world became altered. Impiety increased, fornication multiplied, and they transgressed and corrupted all their ways. And somebody jump up and say, but oh, you know that is speaking about Satan. That could have been any one of his angels, right? Wouldn't we like to think so? Enoch 9 verse 5. You have seen what Azazel has done, how he has taught every species of iniquity upon earth, and has disclosed to the world all the secret things which are done in the heavens. Now the same thing this Mastima do to Adam and Kawa in the garden. Convince them to get access to the forbidden knowledge, to learn by experience. Is that not what he did to Adam and Kawa?
Yes, indeed.
Am I grasping at straws?
No, you're not.
All right, let me continue. Enoch 13 verse 1. Then Canok passing on said to Azazel, you shall not obtain peace. A great sentence is gone forth against you. He shall bind you. Who do we see getting bound in Revelation?
Satan.
Oh, look like we still a grasp at straws, man. Because only for angel get bind, no, sir? All right, look at see what I go. Enoch 10, verse 6. Again, Yahweh said to Raphael, we know Raphael is one of the chief angels, one of the what them call him, archangel. And that's a term, by the way, that we don't see in the Bible, so we don't use that term because it's not in the Bible. Archangel, we don't use it. We know that they are angels of the presence, and Enoch tells us the names of the angels of the presence: Raphael, Michael, Gabriel, and I don't remember the other one. So Yahweh said to Raphael, bind Azazel hand and foot, cast him into darkness, and opening the desert which is in Dudael, cast him in there. Throw upon him hurled and pointed stones, covering him with darkness. There shall he remain forever. Cover his face, that he may not see the light. And in the great day of judgment, let him be cast into the fire. Restore the earth, which the angels have corrupted, and announce life to it, that I may revive it. So this is Revelation in a bridge. This is talking about future event, because him say restore the earth, and we don't say the restoration they all know. And you have to bind this virgin here before you call for restoration, because as long as he's there, nothing can be restored. Verse 12. All the earth has been corrupted by the effects of the teachings of Azazel. Watch this now. To him, therefore, ascribe the whole crime. Tell me now that this is not Satan. And this is just a little fenke angel where Satan have a power with. Enoch 55 verse 5. You kings, O you mighty, who inhabit the world, you shall behold my elect one sitting upon the throne of my glory, and he shall judge Azazel and all his associates. And we know that Prince Mastima have him all them associates in minions, and all his host his army, in the name of Yahweh Sevaot. So Azazel is Satan. Satan is Azazel. So that's the first name we are given for Satan. Azazel. Azazel. So let us go back before Genesis now to see if we can identify this virgin here. Before the beginning, who was he? So we look at the who is he. We see that he's Satan, we see that he's a dragon, he's a serpent, he's the devil, he's Mastima. His name is Azazel, or one of his name is Azazel. But who was he before? because clearly he have some status. So before the beginning, Isaiah 14, Yahweh says in verse 12, how have you fallen from the heavens, O Hallel? Is this not what we saw in Revelation and Luke at the start of the lesson? That they saw someone, Satan, falling from the heaven. Is that not what we saw?
Yes.
And now we're seeing Yahweh speaking in Isaiah saying, how have you fallen from the heavens, O Hallel? The average translation will say Lucifer. I don't know why they did that. It's worse than calling Kawa, Eve. Probably the only one that's worse than this is Yahusha being called Jesus and James, Jacob being called James. But I don't know how they get Lucifer. It's beyond me. Anyways, his name is Hallel. Hallel, son of the morning. So that's where they get Lucifer, morning star, from. Son of the morning, it means. Hallel, son of the morning. So he was bright. I'm going to take you to the interlinear and show you what Hallel means. Isaiah 14:12. And show you that this bridging here, see it here? So they put Lucifer there, but in the Hebrew, it's Hallel. See there? When you click on this, Hallel, in the sense of brightness. So it's a light bearer, means light bearer. And it's from H 1984. When you go to H 1984, halal. Why should this word ring a bell?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Shine Yahuwah. Praise Yahuwah. Exalt Yahuwah. So if Shatan's name was Hallel, then what does his name mean? Exalted, praised, shine, bright. Don't believe? Fine. How have you fallen from the heavens, O Hallel, son of the morning? You have been cut down to the ground, you who laid low the nations. For you have said in your heart, and this is where you went wrong. Yahweh is telling us now why he has been cut down, why he has been thrown from the heavens, why he fell from glory, as we would say. Because you said in your heart, let me go up to the heavens. Let me raise my throne above the stars of Elohim, and let me sit in the mount of appointment on the sides of the north. Let me go up above the heights of the clouds, and let me be like the Most High. The same thing when tell Adam and Kawa, you are going to be like him. That is the sin that he was guilty of, rebellion, turning around. But you have been brought down. And I take you now to 2 Corinthians 11, verse 14, where Paul says, and no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. He is able to masquerade as an angel of light because he was actually the angel of light. Hallel, shining one, the bright one, the son of the morning. He was the light bringer in heaven. So that's why everything come full circle. Everybody following? So before Genesis, this individual, Hallel, Azazel, Satan, Mastema, the devil, the serpent of old, the dragon, was in heaven and he had a great position among the angels, but he wanted to be like the Creator himself. And that is how the Bangarang started. And see it here? Halel means shining one. And we looked at it just now. Bright, shining, excitement. Watch this now. Jubilees 10. Yahweh bade us to bind all. So the angel is telling Moses that Yahweh commanded us to bind all. Bind all what? Every evil spirit, Yahweh tell his angels, go and find every last one of them, round them up, tie them up, and carry them come. I go and deal with them. And the chief of the spirits, what does chief mean? The rush. What does it mean?
Ed.
The leader, the head of the spirits, Mastema came and said, Yahuwah, Creator, let some of them remain before me, and let them listen to my voice, and do all that I shall say unto them. For if some of them are not left to me, I shall not be able to execute the power of my will on the sons of men. A lot of persons will not like this verse, but as I said, this is the scope of Yahweh's dominion. Satan is serving Yahweh's purpose on this earth here, brethren. Satan said, listen, I am here to do a work. Because my thing done gone bad already. And you're using me for a purpose to see if the people who are coming to you are real. If they are loyal, if they are trustworthy, if they are faithful. And in order for me to do that job to the best of my ability, you cannot take away all of my minions. You have to leave me with some. For these are for corruption and leading astray before my judgment. For great is the wickedness of the sons of men. And he said, let the 10th part of them remain before him. So he said, give me a tithe out of them. And let 9 parts descend into the place of condemnation. So in other words, Yahweh take 90%, Satan keep 10%. And one of us, he commanded that we should teach Noah all their medicines. And we know how that go already. Verse 11, and we did according to all his words, all the malignant evil ones we bound in the place of condemnation, and a 10th part, 10% of them we left that they might be subject before Satan on the earth. So Satan controls every evil spirit. And we explained to Noah all the medicine of their disease and all the excitement. So that took place long ago. Ezekiel 28. So Isaiah and Ezekiel give us some information. Isaiah gave us the name. Ezekiel give us the beauty, the prestige, the stature that he enjoyed before he rebelled. Ezekiel 28 verse 12. Son of man, take up a lamentation for the king of Tyre. And you shall say to him, thus said the Master Yahuwah, you were sealing up a pattern, complete in wisdom and perfect in loveliness. This is Yahuwah describing Satan, brethren. Yahuwah said you were sealing up a pattern, you were complete in wisdom. That's why I'm going to tell the people the information from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And you were perfect in loveliness. You were in Eden. See, if you never believe me. So when it's a king of Tyre, you have to understand prophecy. This is not referencing to the physical king who sat up on the throne of Tyre, because he was not in Eden. So we have to understand prophecy. And if you read the preceding verses from verse 1, you would realize that it actually already spoke to the physical individual who was sitting on the throne in Tyre, because this is the kingdom of Tyre. So it referred to the physical king of Tyre as the prince of Tyre, and it refers to Satan as the king of Tyre. And this is why I always tell you that each nation on earth is governed by a demon. That the leader, the prime minister, the president reports to that demon. And the demon tells them what to do. That's why Paul says in, I think, Romans, We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities and power and spiritual wickedness in high places. When him say high place, him not talk about big position. He might talk about high places in the spiritual realm. So you were in Eden, the garden of Elohim. See it here now? Every precious stone was your covering. The ruby, the topaz, the diamond, the beryl, the shoham, the jasper, the sapphire, the turquoise, the emerald, and the gold. Now, if you have on so much stone, brethren, it must bright and a shine. Talk the truth.
Yeah, man. The holy pie.
This explain why him name Hallel, the shining one, the light bringer. The workmanship of your settings and mountings were prepared for you on the day you were created. So Yahweh said, the day me build your clothes. Full suit. Neat. 3-piece suit. Where was the suit then? Yeah? And the bossy shoes.
Charlie
Clark.
Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin. I don't know them.
Yeah, man.
Wallaby Clarks. Watch this now. You were the anointed cherub that covered, and I placed you. You were on the set-apart mountain of Elohim. You walked up and down in the midst of stones of fire. So he was a cherubim. He fell under the order of angels that are called cherubim. And that doesn't mean that he wasn't a seraphim as well. We don't know how it works. We simply just don't know how it works, Bridget. You were perfect in your ways from the day you were created until unrighteousness was found in you. So this virgin here was a perfectly fine creature. Very well made, very beautiful, and possibly not possibly, but very respected by his peers or the other angels. By the greatness of your trade, you became filled with violence within, and you sinned. So I thrust you from the mountain of Elohim. I throw you from the mountain of Elohim. So we can't go around it, Virgin, not because it starts by saying King of Tyre. This is talking about Satan. I threw you from the mountain of Elohim, and I destroyed you, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Your heart was lifted up because of your loveliness. You corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor. And I threw you to the earth, and I laid you before kings to look at you. So Satan was in heaven, parring with Yahweh. Good parry, right-hand man, covering Yahweh. And unrighteousness was found in him. He rebelled, and he lost his position and became Satan. So he never started off as Satan. He was Hallel. He became Satan. Enoch 54. Then I looked and turned myself to another part of the earth where I beheld a deep valley burning with fire. To this valley brought monarchs and the mighty. They brought kings and the mighty ones. And there my eyes beheld the instrument which they were making. Fetters of iron of immeasurable weight. Fetters are chains and things that them use and put upon prisoner. Then I inquired of the angel of peace who proceeded with me, saying, For whom are these fetters and instruments prepared? And he replied, These are prepared for the armies of Azazel, that they may be delivered over and adjudged to the lowest condemnation, and that their angels may be overwhelmed with earth stones, and Yahuwah Sevaot, as Yahuwah Sevaot has commanded. Michael and Gabriel, Raphael and Penuel, you see 4 of them, the 4 angels of the presence. So Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Penuel shall be strengthened in that day, and shall then cast them into a furnace of blazing fire, that Yahuwah Sevaoth may be avenged of them for their crimes, because they became ministers of Satan. See, just up here, so say the host of Azazel, and it is referencing now to the host of Azazel, and they said that those angels who are the host of Azazel became ministers of Satan and seduced those who are upon the earth. So that proves to you that Azazel is Satan. So in Ezekiel, we saw Yahweh referencing him as the anointed cherub that covers. What does that mean? the anointed cherub that covers. What is a cherub? An order of angelic beings. We see the word used in Genesis 3:24. After Yahweh kicked out the man and the woman out of the garden, he placed a cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life. So a specific angel that fell under the order of cherubim or cherubim was placed to guard the way to the tree of life so that nobody can go back into Eden. That is the order that Satan was from. Ecclesiasticus 49, verse 8. It was Ezekiel who saw the glorious vision which was showed him upon the chariot of the cherubim. So the visions that Ezekiel saw, and he described the angels that Ezekiel described. We didn't read that today, but you can go and read it for yourself. So the angels that Ezekiel described when he had his vision, those are cherubims. Exodus 25. So the cherubim are on the Ark of the Covenant. You can read verse 16 to 20. There are two cherubim on the Ark of the Covenant. Both of them, their wings stretch towards each other, and the wings cover the seat, the throne. And who sits on the throne, brethren?
Yahuwah of hosts.
Yahuwah. And we know that the same way Yahuwah commanded Marsha to create the Ark of the Covenant is the same way it is in the heavens, right? Everything in the temple is a mirror of what is in the heavens. If you don't believe me, Hebrews 8:5 says it. These serve as a copy and a shadow of the heavenly, as Moses was warned when he was about to make the tabernacle, the tent, the temple. For he said, see that you make all according to the pattern shown you on the mountain. So the exact way it was created here on earth is how it is in heaven. So if there were two cherubim covering Yahweh, spreading their wings to cover him on the throne, then it's the same way it is in heaven. 1 Samuel 4 verse 4, if you don't believe. The people sent to Shiloh, and they brought from there the Ark of the Covenant of Yahweh of hosts, dwelling between the cherubim. So Yahweh dwells between the cherubim. 2 Samuel 6:2. David arose and went with all the people who were with him from Baali, Yehudah, to bring up from there the Ark of Yahweh that is called by the name of Yahweh of hosts, who dwells between the cherubim. So our Creator dwells, he sits between the cherubim, because there are two angels that fall on the order called cherubim, and they stretch forth their wings, both wings meeting each other, two on one side. Each angel have two, so it's four wings, two meeting each other on two sides, covering Yahweh on his throne. 2 Kings 19:15, the one who dwells between the cherubim. Isaiah 37:16 says the same thing. Psalm 80 verse 1, Psalm 99 verse 1, and Psalm 18 verse 10. All of these tell us that Yahuwah dwells between the cherubim, and the last one, Psalm 18:10, says that he rode upon a cherubim and flew. So he might use them as in transportations. Big things are going up there, we don't understand how it works, brethren. Because when Ezekiel, and we need to read Ezekiel one of these days, when Ezekiel described them, Ezekiel said the thing is rolling. Ezekiel said they don't walk, they don't have feet like us. He said they roll like they're on a ball. And he said it's probably rolling to the right, and it's looking to the left. And him just spin him head right round and come back round. And Ezekiel said when him see it, he want him drop down. Conclusion. Revelation 12. A great sign was seen in the heaven. The woman was clad with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. And being pregnant, when you hear pregnant, your mind supposed to go back to the first thing we say about this virgin here, Satan. He presses against the container of the seed, right? There's a woman and she is pregnant. That's how you go.
Yes.
And she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. So she's about to give birth to a very special child. And another sign was seen in the heaven, and see a great fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on his head. Who this be?
The adversary. Mastima.
Mastima himself. And his tail draws a third of the stars of the heaven and throws them to the ground, to the earth. And the dragon stood before. And you see, the stood before there should have been translated, he stood against, or he stood opposite the woman who was about to give birth, to kill her child as soon as it was born. So we now have to ask who that is, brethren. The dragon, old serpent. And she bore a male child who was to shepherd all the nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught away by Elohim unto his throne. And there came to be fighting in the heaven. Watch this now. It says there came to be fighting in the heaven. Michael and his messengers. Michael seemed to have been the angel who took Halel's. We now know him as Satan. Michael took Satan's position as chief in heaven. So Michael now and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon and his angels fought. But they were not strong enough, nor was a place found for them in the heaven any longer. So this is talking about long time something. So people read Revelation 12 and feel like, say, something will not happen yet. Revelation 12 happened already, virgin. We need to understand prophecy. This is referencing to when he got kicked out, the dragon. And the great dragon, verse 9, was thrown out, that serpent of old called the devil and Satan, who leads all the world astray. He was thrown to the earth, and his angels were thrown out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in the heaven, now have come the deliverance and the power and the reign of our Elohim and the authority of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brothers, who accused them before our Elohim day and night, has been thrown down. Because of this, rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the earth. So the man named kick out, hey, listen, the Bible funny, I have to laugh. The man named kick out the man out of heaven in the virgin and tell heaven say rejoice and tell the earth say ball, because we get rid of the crosses and we don't have to go deal with this, man. Never seen nothing go say it in my life. Michael said, rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, knowing that he has little time. And when the dragon saw that he had been thrown to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to fight with the remnant of her seed. So when Genesis 3 tell you that I put enmity between your seed and her, a long time, something that virgin. Them thing are transact before Genesis 1. And he said to them, I saw Satan falling out of the heaven, Luke 10, as lightning. And I have given you authority to trample on serpents and scorpions and all the power of the enemy, and none at all shall hurt you. But do not rejoice in this, that the spirits are subject to you, but rather rejoice because your names have been written in the heavens. In that hour Yahusha exalted in the spirit and said, I praise you, Father, Master of the heaven and of the earth, that you have hidden these matters from clever and learned ones and have revealed them to babes. Yes, Father, because thus it was well-pleasing in your sight. And turning to his disciples, he said, surely, blessed are the eyes that see what you see. So not a lot of persons understand what you have been taught since evening. For I say to you that many prophets and kings have wished to see what you see and have not seen it, and to hear what you hear and have not heard it. So we close with some adversarial or satanic traits. So each individual will have to introspect, self-analyze, self-actualize, and all of the self-terms, and to see if any of these traits can be found in us and to deal with them, because if they are there, then you are displaying satanic traits, you are displaying adversarial traits, you are displaying mastemic traits. Bad mind, because Satan bad mind. Bad mind, Yahweh of him things, want it, and so he harbored unclean thoughts, and it resulted in his expulsion from heaven. and from his great and lofty host of chief angel. Dirty heart, unclean heart, we're not talking about the one where coconut water was sharp. We're talking about the one where the Torah alone can deal with. So if you have a dirty heart, and for those who are new, in Hebrew thought, the heart is the seat of thought. The heart is your mind. Your heart and your mind are not two different things. They are one and the same. According to the Hebrews, your heart and your mind are the same. So when you say dirty heart, same dirty mind, bad mind, same thing. Idolatry. Satan wanted to be Elohim. Adultery. Satanic. Adversarial. Taking what does not belong to you. Taking people things. Opposition of good. They don't like to see anything good taking place or transpiring. It's adversarial. Satanic. The prevention of childbirth. A lot of persons will not like to hear this. It is the reality. Satan tries to prevent the birth of children, especially the promised ones, especially Hebrew children. So the prevention of childbirth is satanic. It is adversarial. Turning women against men is satanic. It is adversarial. So if there's a church with a pastor who tries to drive a wedge between husbands and their wives, satanic. That is what Satan did, or what he attempted to do in the garden, and that is what the world is doing today. Men against women, and women against men, and women on social media, what they hate about men, and men, what they hate about women. We don't want it in this assembly. Turning men against women, enchanting or divining, so the Obeah man, the astrology, the horoscope that you listen to, all of these are satanic. All of it is as adversarial. Any form of witchcraft, voodoo or magic, anything associated with demons are satanic and adversarial. The harboring of enmity, any form of hatred that you're harboring for anybody, satanic, it is adversarial. Corruption, if you were once good and you are now going down a path of negativity, it's corruption. Same thing happened to Satan, it's adversarial, satanic. The slightest deviation from Yahuwah's commandments is adversarial. It is satanic because Satan means to turn around. Yahuwah says, do not turn to the right or to the left. So if you turn, if you deviate, it is satanic. Any form of rebellion is satanic. Satan is the father of rebellion. Covetousness, satanic. Same bad mind, same ready eye, same dirty heart. Burning desire to be the head, satanic. Wanting people's position of leadership is satanic. It is adversarial. If you are meant to be leader, Yahuwah will set you up in his timing. Use King David as your reference. Wanting to be like the Most High before the appointed time, satanic. Adam and Kawa, use them as your reference. They wanted to be like Elohim before it was appointed. Satanic, it is adversarial. Crab in a barrel mentality, you don't want to see anybody rising. Satanic. Satan decided that, listen, me doom already, you know. So me I try to get as much people to doom with me. That is crab in a barrel mentality. I can't come out of the barrel, so you can't come out either. That is satanic. If you have that mentality where nothing is happening for you and you want nothing to happen for somebody else because nothing is happening for you, that is satanic. Discontentment or dissatisfaction without reason, satanic. And unsubmission is satanic. You don't submit to the authority that is placed over you. It is satanic. These are all adversarial traits. Once it is adversarial, it is satanic. And we end with this slide, Romans 8, verse 5 to 8. For those who live according to the flesh, set their minds on the matters of the flesh. But those who live according to the Spirit, set their minds on matters relating to the Spirit. For the mind of the flesh is death, but the mind of the spirit is life and peace. Because the mind of the flesh is enmity, is mastema, is hatred towards Elohim. For it does not subject itself, it does not submit to the Torah of Elohim. Neither indeed is it able. And those who are in the flesh are unable to please Elohim. Satan was in the flesh. Galatians 5. The works of the flesh are well known: adultery, whoring, uncleanness, indecency, idolatry, drug sorcery, hatred, quarrels. So all the people will love argue for no reason. Everything is just always quarreling, and you're always right. And everybody should think like how you think and believe what you believe. And it's just always arguing and disagreement. It's not of Yahweh, brethren. A lot of time we should just call it a day. We don't always have to see eye to eye. Sometimes we can agree to disagree and keep it moving. It doesn't need to always turn out in a quarrel, in an argument. So if there's always quarrel, check yourself. Satanic. Jealousy, satanic. Fits of rage, satanic. Selfish ambitions, satanic. All your ambitions is just about you, and I want this so that I can, and I can. The meanest syndrome. Dissensions, what is dissension? And factions, that is division. There's not unity. There's no unity in the assembly. Satanic. Envy, satanic. Murder, satanic. Drunkenness, satanic. Wild party, when you see wild party, it's talking about carnival, reveling, the nakedness, the taboo. But the next one named Mecca, the 12 to 12. Me get the name them now, I know the club them, yes. I don't think me never go find them out. And the like of which I forewarn you, even as I also said before, that those who practice such as these shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim, because they are the children of Satan, of Mastema, of the devil, of the old serpent, the great dragon, who was formerly known as Halel and Azazel. I thank you. Questions, comments, concerns? Sorry for the length of the presentation. Loud outbursts. Anything anybody has to say? What did you learn?
Very detailed and informative. I love it.
You have mentioned something earlier about a Satan in heaven, while the scripture speak about when Yahweh call, when them call the meeting, and all the angels, not just the good angels, gather. It brought my mind back to the scripture that speak about the wheat and the tear that goes together until the day of harvest. So I was wondering if there is any attachment. Anyway, yeah, if there's any knitting with that scripture and what we had read earlier.
So the wheat and the tears was a parable. And the parable is always, all parables are in reference to the kingdom of heaven, and they are given to teach lessons. So that was in reference to the reaping of souls on earth. So it would be in reference to human beings. But I get what you're saying. The principle would apply in terms of Yahweh will deal with them at his time when him ready to put an end to all of this. Basically. And we have to remember that in Genesis 6, it refers to the ones who came and corrupted themselves as the sons of Elohim. Sons of Elohim are the daughters of men and went in unto them. So we can't go around that. If I have a son, and one is a thief and a murderer and a rapist and old vagabond, and one is good, do I have the privilege of saying it's only one of my son? The two of them are my son. But we have to deal with the wicked one. If we have to kill him, we kill him. And if we have to disinherit him, we disinherit him. But the fact still remains that he is my son. I mean, him come from, right?
Yeah, I
Aaron.
wanted to say something. While you were reading about Azazel, the practice that they do at Passover, when they would put their hand on one of the goats and
Atonement.
atonement, and send him in the desert. It sounds similar to what's gonna happen to Satan, though. But yet still, but I don't think. So I'm wondering if that goat that is sent out into the desert, if it's the same thing.
All right, so that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, I
But
know.
our current position is that both goats would represent Yahusha. As both goats are the requirement for both goats were that they be spotless. And you have to cast lot for both of them to decide which one to kill and which one to pronounce the sin and to carry away the sin. But I get the connection that you're making, and it's not a bad assessment. But it's something that we can look at further. Because it did say in Enoch that ascribe to him the whole sin. But Israel's, again, we can look at it, but it's a whole other topic. Anyone else? All right, I guess
Well,
not.
for me, it is eye-opening that for the name, all the what you call it though,
Appellations.
the accolade, right? It fits Asatan, it fits the adversary, even Mastema is also accuser, and he said it in his petition to Abba when Abba was seizing all the fallen angels, Malachim. He said that I have to be here, and you give me a job to do, and I have to do the job. So leave me 10 of them. So the job is to accuse us and to see what we would have done. How we would have go about doing it and stuff like that. So all the names I have seen, all the names, all the accolades then is good, and it meant something. And if we embark on these things and the meaning of them and stuff like that, then we would have become a better person, knowing that when we're going through any form of situation in our lives, we are to just depend upon Abaya, good or bad, as we have seen the example with Ayov, we have seen the example with Abraham, and we have seen many other examples in the scriptures where in which they were tested and tried, and Yahweh said, I have known that they would have not forsake me, they would have lived above reproach. So we need to just take a page out of their books and just let Abaya say same thing for us as a people.
Yeah. All right, so we stop there for this evening.